Hi, my name is Cody Fitch, and I'm the administrator of the Excise and Energy Tax Division. Today we'll discuss the International Fuel Tax Agreement, specifically the changes everyone can expect to see in OH Tax e-services. As some of you may know, IFTA is set to go live in OH Tax e-services on November 12th. My colleague Quentin Turner will walk us through all the available transactions for IFTA and OH Tax e-services. Before I turn it over to Quentin, I'd like to quickly mention a few of the changes you can expect to see and how the transition to e-services will impact the 2026 license renewals. Changes in e-services include the ability to register for a new account online, the ability to submit requests for additional and replacement decals online, and the ability to upload quarterly return information. You will also be asked to provide a list of vehicle identification numbers when registering, renewing, and requesting additional and replacement decals. These can also be uploaded. Historically, we've opened license renewals beginning October 1st. This year, the 2026 license renewals will open beginning November 12th to coincide with the IFTA e-services go-live date. No renewals will be processed before this date. Thank you all for attending today, and now I'd like to pass it over to Quentin Turner to go through the IFTA e-services transactions.
Thank you, Cody. Hello, and thank you for joining us today for an IFTA e-services demo. My name is Quentin Turner. As Cody mentioned, we will be covering everything that you will see when IFTA goes live in e-services come November 12th. We will go ahead and jump right in. This first step assumes that you have created your e-services profile. So you've set up your username and password. You just don't have any business tax accounts with us yet. So as you can see, when you first log in, you don't have any tax accounts set up just yet. So we will go ahead and start that process by setting up a business with ODT. So you'll get some brief instructions, including how to register a business in the future. We will go ahead and go next. So you have the option to provide a federal ID or a social security number to set up your business account. Today, we will do a federal ID and enter our FAN and go next. We will enter the business name and go next. And our relationship to the business. We will choose owner. And then we'll enter our personal information. You'll complete these details for the personal information, including an address. And then there's an option to verify the address. If it can find it, it'll pre-populate those details. If not, you may get additional pop-ups as the system attempts to verify your address. Hopefully, once you have a verified address, you will go next. You'll choose the entity type and the Secretary of State entity number. You will then provide the business address. We will use the same that we provided in the previous steps. And again, the system will verify the address. And we will go next. You'll get a review page. If everything looks good there, you will submit. So that just registers the business. At this step, you do not have any tax accounts set up yet. In the future, you can go to your additional services tab and register new business tax accounts if necessary. But that step is offered right here as soon as you set up the business for the first time as well. So we will go ahead and jump right into that. Register a business tax account. We are working with the international fuel tax today. So we will choose the IFTA, register an IFTA tax account. The instructions will give you a general idea of what will be needed to complete this registration. There are some new pieces that will be needed, such as a utility bill or a lease agreement showing that your business is located in Ohio, along with IRP or BMV information showing your vehicle registration and responsible party information. Once you've read through the instructions, you will go next. Will you be traveling outside of the state of Ohio? If you are not, you do not need an IFTA license. It is for interstate travel. So we will choose yes today. And when did you first start transporting goods outside of Ohio? And if you'd like to add a DBA or doing business as name, we will choose no for today and go next. Do you have any bulk fuel tanks? If you do, you'll have to provide those states with the bulk storage. For today, we will choose no and go next. Vehicle identification numbers are also a requirement now. You have the option to upload your VINs by using the VIN upload template here. And we will show that process. So we will say, yes, we are doing an upload. You'll click upload file. And we will choose our VIN listing. And it'll show that your file has been uploaded. You'll go next. So whether you choose to upload the VINs or not, this page will look the same. If you did not upload your VINs, you can add VINs here. Even if you did choose to upload, you can add additional VINs if you forgot one, make changes, or delete any rows if necessary. Once you have your VINs listed, you will go next. So how many sets of decals do you need? We entered 4 VINs, so we will choose 4 sets of decals. And next. What is the US DOT number? So we will enter that here. And then is your US DOT number listed under a different company name? If it is, you'll need to provide the lease agreement showing you're authorized to use that DOT number. For today's purposes, we will say no. So here's where you'll need to provide the verification that your business is located in Ohio, that your business is based in Ohio. So a rental agreement, mortgage statement, as long as and also your Ohio vehicle registration information. So we'll go ahead and add an attachment. And add our lease agreement. So you can see your attachments down below. If you had additional attachments to add, you can do that here. Just add another attachment. Once you have your supporting documentation here, you will go next. And then the address is pulling from the initial business setup. If you'd like to add a separate mailing address, you can do so here. We will say yes to that. And then on the next page, we'll be prompted to provide a different mailing address. And once our address is verified, we will go next. Again, the contact information is pulling from the business setup. If you need to make any changes, you can do so. Once your contact information is up to date, go next. So responsible parties are also required. If a party is no longer responsible, you can add the end date to that party here. And then as you can see on the next page, you can add additional responsible parties if necessary. So we will go to the next page and we will add a new responsible party. And that responsible party's information. and the the address for that responsible party. If you had additional responsible parties to add, you can just click the plus, the add responsible party link, and it will start to populate the additional responsible parties up here in the blue bar. We're just going to add the one today, so we've completed the details, and we will just go next. So in the future, on additional applications, the responsible party list will be populated with this additional responsible party that we've added. You'll get to the review page. If the information looks good, you'll go next. And then you'll read through and then confirm your declaration by clicking Submit. Once the department processes your application, you should receive an important notification to the email address you've provided, directing you to come back to eServices. And once you do, you'll see that you have an unread letter. And when you view that letter, your IFTA temporary authority will be available to you, which you're able to print from eServices and use while you're waiting for your decals in the mail. Once we finish processing your requests and mail your decals, you will also receive a copy of your license on eServices. So you'll receive another important notification, direct you back to eServices. Once you log in, you'll find your IFTA license, which will include the decals that were issued to you. So a copy of this license plus the decals will arrive in the mail, but this will be available to you to save digitally or print when needed. So that completes the initial registration process. We will navigate back to the summary page and look at the return process. So as you can see, this will be new. There are two panels here, one for the tax agreement account. In this top account here, this is where you'll do your filing, make your payments, and also see any upcoming due dates or balance dues or credits. And then down below, you'll see your IFTA license account. This is where you can make additional decal requests, and also there'll be a panel for the renewal once that opens up. So we will look at the return first. So we will file this June 2025 second quarter return by clicking File Now. Do you have any miles or fuel to report? If you choose no, you'll be guided to just filing a zero return, which is still required if you have no miles or gallons. But for today, we will choose yes. Another new question, do you have any untaxed or unreceipted fuel? Untaxed is receipts that you have that may not include any tax, and unreceipted are just receipts that you may have lost. So we will show that by saying yes. And then, are you only reporting diesel fuel? If you choose yes on the upcoming pages, when it's asking for your fuel types, diesel will be pre-populated and you'll be unable to change it to another fuel type. So if you're only diesel, you'll choose yes. If you have more than just diesel fuel, you'll say no. So we'll show that by saying no. And then how many vehicles are you reporting for the quarter? We will say 4 and then go next. So you do have the ability to upload your tax return. You can get the template here by clicking this link, filling out the details, and then saying yes that you are uploading your schedule. We will show that off by saying yes, we are uploading. And then attaching our return. You'll see that the file has been uploaded, and we will go next. So on the jurisdiction details page, we chose to upload. So we have some information populated here. If we did not, we would just add a jurisdiction and continue to do so until we've completed all of our jurisdiction details. But even if you chose to upload, you'll have the ability to make edits with the pencil, delete rows by clicking the X, or adding additional jurisdictions if you left one out. And we will go ahead and do that. We will add a jurisdiction. We'll say we also have another for Indiana for the fuel type of electricity. We will enter in our miles, our taxable miles, and our volume. Then we will click add. And then you'd follow that same process if you had additional jurisdictions to add. Once your details are complete, we'll go next. So again, here's our untaxed or unreceipted volume. Untaxed is our receipts without tax. Unreceipted are receipts that you do not have, that you may have lost. So we'll enter a figure there and go next. So here's our totals by fuel type. We entered two types, diesel and electricity. So they're being summed here. We will go next. And then here's our jurisdictional review. So you can see we may have a credit in Ohio. We have balance dues in Indiana. So overall, we have a tax due. Once you review those, review the details on this step, we will go next. And then one last review page, just giving a summary of the reporting period we're filing for, and also our balance due in this case. We will go next. You'll choose your payment option, either pay later if you're sending in a check, or ACH. We will choose the ACH option. And then you would complete your payment details on this page. And if you'd like to save it for future use, once your details are entered, you'll go next. And then you'll again read your declaration and agree to it by filing my return. The typical turnaround time is 2 business days for the processing of the return. But we will show that what it'll look like once that return gets processed. So once your return has been processed, and if you were to log back into your e-services account, you can see that the return has been filed, along with no balance due because we made a payment. If we chose to pay later, the balance due would be red with a balance there until it's been paid. We will also show off an amended return. So you can do that by clicking on the View and Amend option. If you need a transcript, you can also do that from this page. But for today, we will amend the return that was just filed by clicking Amend. The information will pull in from the original return. So if no changes are needed here, they're already selected for you. So we'll leave those as they are and go next. If there are multiple changes being made on this amended return, it may be beneficial to attach another upload file. But if there are minor changes, just a few changes that need to be made, as opposed to uploading a whole new file, once we go next, you'll see that it does pull in the details from the previous return, from the original return. So at this point, you could just go in there and make your edits. So we will show that by just deleting the Indiana electricity. And then go next. You'll still have your untaxed or unreceipted volume question. I will leave it as is and go next. And now on our fuel type breakdown, you'll see that the electricity row is gone. So we will go next there. And then on our review, we'll now see that we have a lower tax due amount with the previous line being deleted. So we will go next there. And on this review page, you'll see that you're getting credit for your previous payment. And now we actually have an overall credit or refund that is due. So when you go next, you'll also see that you'll be prompted to provide your direct deposit information for that overpayment or receive a check by mail. For today, we will choose check by mail, and then you'll be prompted to provide the correct address. If this address is not correct, you'll choose no, and then be prompted to to provide the details of that better mailing address. But for today, we will choose yes and go next. And then again, confirming that declaration by file my return. So again, there is some processing time, but if we return back to our summary homepage, you'll see that you have a return submitted. And if you view that submission, you'll have the option to withdraw it, which is just pulling it back to make edits, or deleting it entirely if it filed an error. These options are available while the return is processing, but typically overnight, once that return processes, you'll have to amend the return to make changes. All right, so that now covers the returns, payments, and amending options. We will now move down to this IFTA license account. And again, this is where you will request decals, additional or replacements, and also renew once the renewal period is open. So we will first show off the request additional decals. So again, the two options are additionals or replacements. We will choose the additional. For the additional, the most common option would be you've added a new truck to your fleet, and that new truck needs IFTA decals. So you are requesting additional decals for that truck. So we'll choose additional and go next. Again, you'll have the option to upload your VINs. For this one, we will choose no and just manually enter them. So for the additional requests, you do need to provide a VIN that does not exist on any of your previous IFTA applications. You're telling us that it's a new truck, so we need a new VIN for that new truck. If you provide a VIN for one that already matches one that we have on file for you, you'll get a pop-up, an error message, and you'll be unable to continue. So once you provide that new VIN, you will go next. And you can write new VIN or VIN. So if you have more, you can just keep adding. But once you have your VINs entered, you'll go next, and you'll just get a review step letting you know the reason and the number of decals you're requesting, and then you will submit. So at this step, you're waiting for the department to process your request. Usually the next business day, you'll get a temporary authority. And then once we mail out your decals, the updated license will also be available to you on eServices. And we will show what that will look like once that request has been approved. So once that request has been approved, you'll again get that important notification on eServices. You'll get that important notification that you can then view that letter. And in this case, the letter is another temporary authority allowing you to operate while you're waiting for that additional request, that additional decal to arrive in the mail. And then once we place your decals in the mail for that additional request, you'll again be able to view that license there on eServices as well. And it will contain the updated decal or the new decal that we're sending. So again, you'll be able to view and print this at any time by logging into eServices. We will quickly show off the replacement requests. So we'll navigate back to the summary page. Again, click on the request additional decals. And this time we're doing replacement. So replacements are typically ones that you either never received or you did receive, but they were damaged or destroyed. You have the same vehicle, that vehicle needs another set of decals. So we will choose destroyed. So again, you'll have the option to upload. For this one, we will say no. Upload your VINs. We will not upload the VINs. We'll see. And go next. So for this, you'll need to provide a VIN that matches one that we already have on file for you. If you provide a VIN that does not match one that we have on file for you, you'll get an error message and it will be rejected. And then you will submit. Again, typically the next day, you'll get your temporary buy through eServices, and then your license will be available to you once we mail the decals. I will again quickly show that so you can see the updated decal number again. So again, you'll get that important notification by email, or you'll get an email letting you know that you have an important notification available to you on eServices. Once you log in, another place that you can always find these, your licenses and temporaries, are under the Additional Services tab by clicking on Additional Services and View Letters and Notices. And again, you'll have your newest temporary authority available to you for that replacement request. And then once we drop your decals in the mail, you will also have your updated license with the decals of that for that replacement request. All right, so that then covers the additional decal and the replacement decal request. The next topic will be the renewals. So as you can see, I'm working with a November 12th date here in the system. That'll be the first day the renewal opens up this year, but I'll be able to show off the renewal today. When that renewal period opens, you'll have this panel here letting you know you have a 2026 renewal upcoming. Before going into that renewal though, one quick thing, if we go to Additional Services tab, under the Registration and Account Maintenance box here, you can manage names and addresses. So if we go in there and then click on Addresses, the renewal information, that'll go to the address we have on file for you. So if at no point that's been updated, you may just want to come here just to make sure we don't have an outdated address for you. But you can update the license mailing address here, and the renewal information will go to this address. So if we navigate back to the summary and then click on File Now for the renewal, you'll have the option to upload your VIN listing. And the template is available here if you need it. We will not do that for this demo because as you can see, when we go next, it will pull in all the VINs that have been provided to us from the previous applications. But you do have the ability to make additions, edits, or deletions from this page as well. We will leave our VINs as they are and go next. And then the number of decals you're requesting, it is pre-populated based on the number of VINs that you have entered. So that is set to 5. We will go next. And then just one last review page, just letting you know the license year and the sets that you have requested. Go next. And then you'll again confirm this declaration by clicking Submit. So at this step, once we process your requests and issue your decals, you'll get that, you'll see your license on within eServices. You should not expect a temporary for renewal requests due to the grace period. As long as you've renewed before the due date, there's a grace period that you have until to get the new decals on the vehicle that lasts until February 28th. So as long as you're renewed, you've done what you need to do. So once we process your requests, you'll again get that important notification. You can view your letters. And then you'll have your 2026 IFTA license available to you to again have digitally in print when needed. And this renewal application will again show the decals that we'd issue to you. So that covers our renewal. And that also covers everything that you would see on eServices, including the returns, well, the initial registration, the returns, the requesting additional and replacement decals, and the renewal process. Okay, so that covers the logged in portions of the OH Tax eServices system. Next, we'll move on to a portion where we do not need to be logged in for. So currently we're logged out here on the eServices homepage. And then here under the business section, you'll see the request an IFTA single trip permit. Again, this is a non-logged in option. If you are logged in, you will not see it. So we'll go ahead and jump into that. So the single trip permit are for businesses who are sporadically leaving their base jurisdiction. If you are leaving your base jurisdiction often, you may want to apply for an IFTA license itself. But the permit is just for occasional trips, in this case, into Ohio. So you'll read through your kind of the instruction page here. Once you do that, we will go next. So the first page here is asking if you are the third party or not. If you are the third party completing this application, completing this request, you're entering your information here. So we will assume that. So we will choose Federal ID. We will enter the third party's Federal ID here. And the third party's business name. You'll provide the email address that you would like a copy of the single trip permit to go to. And then again, if it's your business completing the request, you will say yes. In this example, we're saying we're the third party, so we'll say no. We'll go next again. And so now we're entering the business that is using the single trip permit. So we'll do their federal ID. And the business's name. We'll again go next. So mailing address is required, but again, the copy will be delivered to your email. So we'll go ahead and enter our mailing address here. And then we will verify the address and use the one that it's, use the one with the extra digits at the end. Once we have our verified address, we will go next. Here you'll enter the VIN for the vehicle. And if your unit, or if the vehicle is part of a fleet, you'll enter the vehicle's unit number here. Otherwise, you can just leave it as 0. So we will go next. When do you plan to start traveling through Ohio? You'll choose that date. And for how many days? Up to 4. And then the approximate time you believe you will be entering Ohio. Once you have those details, you'll go next. Quick review page. If everything looks good, again, you'll go next. And then maybe the big change is the single trip permits are currently not, credit card currently is not an option. So you'll have to enter your ACH information here. You'll enter your routing and account number. For training purposes, for this demo, we'll just choose this populate routing number. It'll just populate a fictitious bank information here. And then we will enter our account number. And then our bank type. Once you have your details, you'll go next. And then you will confirm your submission by clicking Submit. At this stage, you're done. A copy will be delivered to your email. A couple things to note when you receive that email. There'll be a link to click. You'll click that link. It'll load a page for you. You'll have 3 opportunities to view or print that single trip permit. Once you exceed your count, that link will no longer work. It will expire. So just make sure you view and save or print your single trip permit before that limit is exceeded. And that completes the single trip permit. So we'll navigate back to the eServices homepage and show off one last thing for today. So for representatives who are filing for multiple companies, just want to quickly show what it will look like to swap between those different profiles. So we will go ahead and log into our representative company. So when you first get logged in, you may not have access to anything. To request access to an account under a Social Security number, you'll have that option here. But today we will choose accessing an account under a FANE. So we'll click that. You will need to provide a piece of business information since we're working with IFTA. If you have a copy of their license, there is a letter ID on that license. You can use that. But as long as you're providing a piece of business information, the system should process your request. Once you read through your instructions, you'll go next. You'll provide the legal name of the business that you're requesting access to and their FANE. You provide your relationship to the business. We'll choose representative. And then if you have authority to manage other representatives on behalf of the business, you'll say yes. For today, we'll choose no. We're dealing with IFTA, which is an excise tax, so we'll check that box. But if you do have other accounts, other taxes you need access to, you can check those boxes here. We'll just choose excise, and we'll choose fuel taxes, which includes IFTA, and go next. So based on your discussions with the customer, with the taxpayer, you may have access to only do certain things. But today we will choose file returns and make payments. And then here is the step where you will need to provide a piece of business information. Again, the letter ID on the IFTA license would be acceptable. So once you complete those details here, you'll go next. And then this review page just lets you know that your request will either be approved or you may receive notification on the steps needed to gain access to the account. But then you'll submit your request and click OK. And then as you can see on the summary page, we now have access to that new customer where you can act on their behalf. And then just to show how it will look if you have multiple customers, you can do that by clicking on Representative Center. And here in the middle under Business Access Management, if you're setting up a brand new business, you could do that here. Otherwise, today we're doing access accounts under AFANE. And again, a lot of the same information as the first request that was submitted. So we'll go through there. We'll enter the new or the second company's details. Our relationship, again, choose no. We'll say excise taxes again, fuel taxes. All this information is the same from the previous step, from the first business. We'll again say file returns and make payments, and then provide those details. We'll again choose the letter ID for the IFTA license and go next. And again, one last time, just letting you know the request will be approved or you may receive steps on how to correct it. We'll submit and OK. And then once we return to the home page, we'll now have select a customer where you'll be able to swap between customers. And you can click on work with someone else, choose a different one. And then one last thing to note, as you see the important notifications that may start to pop up, if you have a customer in context here, these important notifications are for this customer. If you click on Manage My Profile and Important Notifications, these would be the one related to you. So if you were not approved for a specific company's access, you'll see that notification here. You can view the message and see why it was denied. But that covers the representative portion. As far as working with the account, everything it'll be the same on how a non-representative would would access the account. But that does conclude today's IFTA e-services demo. I'd like to thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the Excise and Energy Tax Division with any questions. We'd be happy to assist. And thank you again.